I don't think we need to be frightened about sweeping sexual changes and all of these scare words that are used by the people who've opposed this amendment in California. All it does is simply do for the United States Constitution what should have been done at the beginning. Makes it clear that we don't discriminate in this country on the basis of sex, and I think it would be a very positive addition to our country. Of course, this is only the 22nd state, and we need a total of 38 states, so some work continues to be done, but it's important that California didn't come in being drugged by the heels, but at least got in somewhere in the middle of this fight.
Dr. Master, you know Tony Frank for Women in Communications.
Well, I think I get to just make a statement taking the high road here. The ladies may take the lower road, but about the philosophy of equality, this is an idea whose time has come. As you know, when the Constitution was written, we had some very serious problems because there was systematic discrimination against all people except the white adult males who had certain property rights. This is not to be critical of the framers of the Constitution because they made no pretense at perfection, and they did build into the Constitution an amending capacity, and we've amended 26 times. This will be the 27th amendment to the Constitution. It is long overdue. Women not only had no legal rights at the time the Constitution was written, they were the property of their husbands or their fathers. They were thought to be inferior intellectually and physically and socially. They had no career options. But this is not a thing of the antiquated past. It wasn't until 1920 that women even had the right to vote in the country. And the systematic discrimination, especially economic discrimination, continues down to the present time. I have some figures that are coming from the telephone booth from my office, which are the latest figures of the civil service categories, the 6 civil service categories, which show that in the last or the 6th category, women are overwhelming the numbers of workers, something like in the 80th percentile. In the first 2 categories, they're not to be found at all, and they haven't been given the opportunities by the government. Where they are given jobs, they have to be twice as good as a man to be paid as much as a man is paid. And I think the government simply symbolizes the systematic economic discrimination. And so
those who fear the amendment, we've seen all these dire predictions,
right.
What would happen if it passed.
Stan, I would say that freedom is always a great risk. It's a risk in this country for people to be free to drive automobiles, and we have accidents. It's a great risk to allow people the right to own and bear arms because they shoot presidents, and all of the other risks that accompany freedom. And there may be some disadvantages that women will inherit as a result of losing the protective veil of a special category. I think that could be possibly very likely, but the alternative to freedom is less attractive, and I think many of the fears, the so-called fears that are enumerated by the opponents to this are illusory, and I think at the bottom of those charges has been a rather unseemly coalition between big business and big labor to try to avoid the economic impact of giving equality to women. So I don't think we'll be sharing the same restrooms for a while.
Why did you bring that up?
I think that women may be drafted. I was in Israel, and they serve and are drafted, and maybe women should serve. Maybe all citizens should serve a couple of years in some aspect of government service. There may be some changes in the divorce laws and property ownership, but I think for every disadvantage that the woman incurs by reason of gaining equality and giving up her superiority, that she will find a stronger footing. So that may be a general answer, but I think we'll see when this thing passes that there will not be the sweeping sociological changes which many people describe.
Mrs. Frank, what do you think about women being drafted?
Oh, I'm sitting here boiling because I've heard that so often when there were other basic things to talk about, when the things to talk about were really human rights, the things to talk about were really what it means to be a person under the law. And then the question is, well, you know, would you like your little children to go off to go to war? Would you like your daughters to be out there on the battlefield? Why is it better for men to be killed? This is the question. You know, we're all in this together. We're all human beings, and I would rather see no one killed. And I think that women have never hung back from serving their country. I think they have always joined the armed forces, and I think they have done beautifully. And I don't think that they would be, put on the battle line. I think that they would be chosen for their particular strengths. Does that answer?
I think we sometimes forget the rights that one gains.
Campaign sponsored.